Welcome to the Leverton on Everything podcast. I'm Leverton, and this is everything. I review podcasts, books, movies, TV series, true crime, scandals. That's the first rule. Second rule is that every review is under 10 minutes. Today I'm reviewing the Otreau Case, a French nightmare. I gave it 5 out of 10. My title focuses too much on the scandal and not the aftermath. This series shows why it is important that the legal system is run by professionals with the highest level of competence and integrity. The documentary focuses on a scandal that erupted after an investigation involving pedophilia in one family in Otreau, France. The children in this family were 100% victims of this horrible crime. Unfortunately, their mother, apart from being an enabler of abuse, was a pathological liar, and this led to many innocent people being accused of this crime. When of this got out, it sparked a scandal in France, and many of the accused were cleared of any wrongdoing, perhaps prematurely, which the document does not address. 3 people who were cleared were subsequently charged and convicted of crimes against children. The trial itself was a sham. Child victims were subjected to hours of testimony in public court, which is not something that is good for them or conducive to the interests of justice. The defense lawyers were permitted to ruin the character of children. If a child is required to testify about such a matter, it should happen behind closed doors with no cross-examination. My conclusion is that such investigations should not be reported to the public until a verdict is reached. Yeah, I watch a lot of true crime documentaries, and I watch them about, different justice systems, and I think the most egregious is the American one because it's so kind of reactive to whatever is going on in the media at the time. But other systems for sure have problems, and this is a good example of a system with problems. So the European system is like, maybe not European, more Napoleonic system, is that in the court you have sort of like more adversarial confrontations with witnesses and lawyers than you would in a more British legal tradition. And you might think, well, prosecutions are they are adversarial, but they are, which is true, but they have like very set rules that they can go through, and they can't cross it. Like if they say something, if they say some kind of conjecture or something, then the judge will strike it down, you know like and I, as far as I know, that's not part of this Napoleonic system. So basically, a very talented lawyer can go to a child and basically accuse them of anything, and the child, of course, will break down because they're in front of all these people. And I don't know if this is actually true, but it seems like at least in documentaries about American trials, there is like a big gap between the bench where the judge sits and the witness who sits next to the judge and the bailiff in that. And in this Napoleonic system, it seems like there's huge crowds, and there's very a little amount of space between the witness, the judge, and like the prosecution, and people are literally like breathing down the necks of the prosecution. So I don't think that's conducive to justice at all, and I think trials would be good if they were not publicized until after a verdict was reached, because in this particular case, like, it was clearly the media was feeding all of these stories, and so, like, the accusations got bigger and bigger, and more people were brought in. And then when they found out that the mom was a pathological liar, a lot of people were saying, oh, no, they're all innocent because she was lying. But maybe that was too much. So if the justice system were able to be more objective, then it would have had better results in this case. Yeah, I'm not going to recommend my son's podcast because of the topic of this one. But yeah, you can check out other of my episodes, my reviews, and then in those reviews, I do recommend it. So you can find out what it's called in there. All right, thanks. Bye.